Hello. I guess as per usual, I'll awkwardly wait for someone to show up in the chat so I don't have to like talk to myself, which is usually the first couple of minutes of the live stream anyway, and I just feel incredibly awkward, so I will just wait for anyone really to show up. It's gonna be funny if I went live on a wrong account again and no one has any idea that I'm live because I just went live on unmasking. Wait, let me see. I'm gonna hope to dear God that that's, oh no, okay, hello. Hi, I thought that I went live on a wrong channel again, and because I once went live on unmasking and I didn't realize for like 10 minutes, and I was like, wow, no one's here. That's strange. And it was literally because like the live was private and unlisted, and like also it was on the wrong channel. Hi guys. So last time that I was here, I was like, oh, I'll do a fundraiser for Rima for my birthday, for her medical needs, and then I'm going to surprise her. So then a week of hell or 2 weeks of hell broke down onto me. And I didn't go live on my birthday. I didn't do a fundraiser for my birthday. I did tell Rima though, so it's no longer a surprise, and I will be doing a fundraiser. And also, like, I have no choice but to do a fundraiser because some of you are incredibly lovely people, and there were 2 donations that were like just sent to me for Rima's for like supplies for Rima behind the scenes. One was in the amount of €100, and one was in the amount of €300, which I have yet to tell Rima because she's not here, but she knows that I'll be doing a fundraiser, and I'll have to do it at some point, probably like, I think I'm honestly going to do a GoFundMe and explain like the whole thing instead of like doing PayPal. So that way, like anytime something is subtracted and anytime something is done, like everyone can see where it went and stuff like that. Because I think the amount for the fundraiser is fluid. It's kind of like as much as we can raise because, again, Rima is a combat medic and there is a lot going on the front line. And also she teaches soldiers, and when she teaches soldiers, she buys her own supplies. So I just wanted to address that, and I wanted to say that if you donated, or the 2 people that donated, one I actually talked to on Instagram, so I know that I can, you know, like I can give them return connection. I can like, you know, I can acknowledge receipt, but the other person, I don't know their Instagram handle or their really contact outside. I don't even know what their name on YouTube is because their name on YouTube differs from their name on Revolut. So, and I don't want to say their name out loud because, you know, it's not good. But point is that the €100 was received and it's going to go to Rima's needs. Now, hello everyone. Anytime someone like sends me donations for something that I mentioned, for something that I mentioned I'll be doing a fundraiser for behind the scenes, and it's genuinely so nice because I know that people are like, you know, the people care, but I'm always like, if I can't go live the next day or like soon and tell them that I actually received it and it didn't like go down the drain, whatever, I feel so bad and anxious, and I genuinely didn't have time to like go live because life has been. Okay, so hi Dan, hi Hugh, hi Sherry, hi Dave, hi Jason, good to see you. Oh, you guys, question, is anyone here from France and near Marseille? Or knows anyone from France, trustworthy, who lives near Marseille, like, you know, somewhere in the area, in the 30-minute drive vicinity. Hi, Dave. Hi, Frost. Hi, Christy. Oh, yay, finally. Hi, Deborah. Heroyam Slava. Hi, Scooter. Good to see you. Hi, Finley. Hi, Gord. Max contradicts Trump. I can't imagine the next meeting without a ceasefire. I mean, we're going to talk about that today. There's a lot going on, obviously, in terms of Ukraine and in terms of like this, I'm not going to call it stupid, this meeting. I just want to say hellos first and acknowledge people, and then we can talk. I'm sad because now my summer break is over. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hi, Odin. Hi, Gord. Hi, Kareen. Hi, Jason. Hi, brother B. I don't know what you don't care about. Hi, Lila. Thank you. Hi, Gabby. Hi, Carlos. And thank you, Dan. And Russia can't survive a ceasefire. Exactly. This is what I want to talk about. And also, Taz, you are 32 months is like 32 months is 2.5 years that you remember. That's freaking crazy and really nice and really cool. And I don't even know what to do or say about that. So quick catch up. I'm an idiot who hit my car really bad, and I mean like really bad, out of nowhere. Like legitimately, I don't even understand how that happened because it is the dumbest thing anyone has ever done. And I don't normally like I drive pretty carefully, and I'm a very like attentive person when it comes to like the road and stuff. And I hit my car on a pole, and I hit it so that the door cannot be fixed. It needs to be replaced. It's really bad, and it's so costly, like so costly. And I can't like I can delay fixing this because my car locks and unlocks itself because of the like mechanism that got anyways. And there are a plethora of other issues that came out there. Also, one of my airbags apparently doesn't work because the sensor is fucked. So there's a whole thing from this one dumbass like hit that wasn't high speed, that wasn't anything. It was legitimately like I got distracted because my mother was texting me. It was a high pressure situation because like it was right before my birthday and my friend's wedding, and my mom was deciding whether she's gonna come or not come. Every day she was like, I'm gonna go, then she was like, I'm not gonna go, because she lives in a different city. She's like, I'm gonna go, I'm not gonna go, I'm not gonna go, I'm not gonna go. Then she decided to go. Then she like forgot her shoes, her everything, literally. And it was like a super like stressful situation. And I was in a parking lot, and there's this pole, and I was driving out of the parking lot. My mom texted me, so I like looked at the screen and I went, "Oh fuck!" And the next thing I know is me and the pole were kissing. Well, my car and the pole were kissing, and the car is a quite older model of Mini Cooper. So I love my car. It's an amazing car, and yeah, and that's the thing. Also, thank you so much, Dan. I think like I think honestly you are the star of this channel. um so yeah, so that's my little thing. Then my dogs also like ripped my couch, and I talked about it in the podcast. And actually like um I forgot who it was, but they were like, I think it was Jen who was like, "Oh, I heard about you talking about this in the podcast, but it seemed like it was no big deal because I normally don't want to I don't want to complain about things in the podcast and be like, and like put like my bad mood onto people. So I was just kind of trying to laugh it off, but it was it was just like this month was like we were joking about Mercury and retrograde, and I don't necessarily believe in any of this, but like it's been probably one of the worst months in my life, and I mean it so genuinely. And some things weren't bad, like some things were horrendous, some things were like reasonable, but it's just like it's been like a nonstop turning wheel. And I just have had like a lot of like these things to micromanage, and it's just kind of been like a constant, constant something. And sometimes they're not bad. Like I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, like every day it's been like a horrendous day. Like no, it's just like a lot of things have been happening. Um Hi, why the gays channel sometimes translates English news text to Russian language for no reason? There it shouldn't, because there is no such you mean like subtitles? Because subtitles, YouTube now automatically translates videos into subtitles based on the region where you're from. So if your phone was ever in Russian, or like your phone's language is Russian, then it might be translating videos into Russian based on what it thinks the language you use your smartphone on is. But we don't translate anything into Russian. Why you plugging in mic while sound was better before it? I don't know, Taz. I thought sound would be better with mic. Hi, I'm Barrera. Well, we know why you could look at a Mini Cooper wrong and it'd break. That's not true. My Mini Cooper is really like, I don't know, what where that reputation comes from, because like my car doesn't really break that often. The only nemesis that it has is Kyiv's roads, because it's a very low to the ground car. Um, it's a very low to the ground car, and Kyiv roads are genuinely horrendous and are filled with potholes. And I mean, like, the other day, I left my home at like 9 p.m. Why am I muffled if I'm where? Okay, one sec. How about now? Is it better this way? Um, it's text and video. How can I send a link? I don't know. You can send a link to my Instagram. Uh, Text on video is subtitles. YouTube automatically adds subtitles. So text on video is YouTube auto-generated subtitles. Um, Same sound. Okay. How about now? I don't know. Oh, is it? People are saying better audio now. Okay. What was I saying? I don't know where I was. Oh yeah, like so I left my home at like 9 a.m. and the road in front of my apartment was fine. And then I came back at 3 p.m. and there was like a pothole in the road in front of my apartment building, but I don't mean like a pothole as in like a little bit of the road broke. I mean like so deep that someone had to put a branch in it to signalize to people that there is a pothole, and half the branch was like, it was like this deep probably. And that happened between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. So yeah, Cave Roads. Uh Audio is good, don't worry about it. Okay, cool. But yeah, so I have been seeing a lot of different accounts coming from the Zelensky Trump meeting. It's obviously still updating because it's an ongoing situation, but it really looks fucking horrible. Like, it looks so bad. There were reports at first coming out that Trump said that if Ukraine doesn't sign a deal, the help help from the US is going to stop. It was later debunked by Trump himself, saying that he would never say that because, it's just like the deal needs to be signed, but like, it's not like it's a thing that just like stops and stuff. The problem with these types of events and coverage directly after them is that Trump is speaking and he says a lot of inflammatory stuff. He kind of just blabbers, and then people take quotes and put them online, and these quotes often contradict themselves. Um, I think it's very good that the European leaders actually did manage to go and did manage to like uh, participate in this meeting with Trump and Zelensky, because from the rhetoric in Europe, especially, like, one of the leaders that's impressed me this time around very much is Macron, because he came out and said that, like, this is not a deal, this is Ukraine's capitulation, this is garbage, no one should be signing it, it is bad for Europe, it is bad for Ukraine, it is bad for everyone, and like no one should be forcing Zelensky into it. So the people that came from the European side were the president of Finland, the president of France, prime minister of Germany, so Bundeskanzler. There was Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister of Italy. There was also Ursula von der Leyen, and there was Mark Rutte, and I think I'm skipping someone, but there were quite a few European leaders that did go. So Germany, France, Italy, Finland, I believe Lithuania, maybe, I'm not sure. Basically, like, most of the leaders. Oh, Keir Starmer, but Keir Starmer. Okay, but Keir Starmer is kind of like Keir Starmer pisses me off sometimes to the point of no return, because on the one hand, he's obviously against Russia, but on the other hand, he tries to kiss ass to Trump so bad, it's not even funny. And I understand that the idea is that Trump and Europe's relationship is kind of fucked, and Trump will not listen to Europe because Trump has this like sort of, well, superiority thing with them. And Keir Starmer being like in Europe but not in the EU tries to be like the mediator, and I get it. But his statement right after Alaska was like, "Oh, this is fantastic work by President Donald Trump. We've made more progress than ever before in reaching a peace deal." There was no progress made. I mean, zero progress made. The only thing that happened is the US soldiers were kneeling on their hands and knees in front of a Russian jet and putting a red carpet for a freaking bloody dictator. That's what happened. Um, Putin did not budge on any of his demands, which still include territories of Ukraine, which still include changing the government to whatever he sees fit, which still includes Ukraine's demilitarization, and still includes all of the points that it did a month ago, two months ago, 3 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, like, virtually nothing, not even virtually, practically and feasibly, nothing changed in the deal. So this meeting resulted in nothing. And there were things that were done that, in my humble opinion, were just mortifying, which one is the red carpet treatment, the fact that the American soldiers were rolling that red carpet out on their hands and knees. Um, the pleasantries and the niceties, the fact that Lavrov, the foreign minister, showed up in a USSR hoodie or sweatshirt and no one blinked an eye. That's disrespect times 1,000, and Russia just laughing at the US and the US just taking it. And the fact that Putin's dinner menu included his title to be His Excellency, the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, which is like His Excellency. And those are things that you didn't have to do, right? Like you could have just say the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, but they went an extra mile and they actually called him His Excellency, while he is the person who's supposed to be afraid of them, who they are supposed to have an upper hand over. Instead, they're kissing ass to him. So this whole Alaska meeting was a fiasco and like a completely like botched debacle. I was watching it transpire in horror, and I knew wasn't gonna yield any results, but it didn't just not yield any. Mm. Okay, hello trolls. What are you yapping about? You're Ukrainian, right? Why are you trying to sound American? Because that's my fucking accent, you fucking stupid bot, and that's how I sound. And just because you want me to sound like this, and for you this would sound a lot more palatable and less intellectual, even though it isn't, doesn't mean that I need to speak like that if my fucking accent is this. Are we done? Cool. I'm also an American taxpayer, thank you very much, and an American green card holder, thank you very much again. So why don't you fuck off? Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Mm, so yeah, so Keir Starmer was pissing me off by like praising this whole situation and saying that like so much progress has been made, more progress than ever. He almost sounded like Trump. And I think honestly, the two people that have my utmost respect in the past 2 weeks is Macron and, well, Gavin Newsom, but for other reasons, because his trolling of Trump on Twitter is just top notch, cherry on top of the cake. The fact that he's like mimicking Trump's like grammar mistakes and his speech patterns and his writing patterns are like, it's like giving me life, honestly. Um, but yeah, there is. I think that the Alaska thing was a fiasco, and what's happening today, it's currently too early to comment, because the actual like conditions of this so-called proposed deal that Trump negotiated are not put forth. But what I do know is that one of the things that Putin compromised on is that he's now his compromise is that he is not going to be taking over the whole territory of Ukraine, which he hasn't managed to actually take over anything in the last 3 years. In the last year, Russia has invaded 1% more of the territory than it held before. So Russia occupied 20% of Ukraine, and in the last year they have occupied 1% more of that 20%. So not even 21% of Ukraine, but 1% of the occupied territory was added. And 1 million Russians died fighting for that 1%. That's a military disaster and a military failure. Also, another compromise that Putin has made on um on the deal is that he's now willing to let Ukrainians in Ukraine learn Ukrainian. I think that should tell you everything you need to know about Russia's intentions and the intentions of this invasion. One of the compromises he's made on his demands is that he's no longer going to demand that Ukrainians in Ukraine will not be allowed to learn Ukrainian. That's his compromise. Yeah. Thank you. So nice. So generous. Because, obviously, we have to ask. Mm-hmm. Fucking wild. Sorry. You're Ukrainian. I have a question. Sure, go ahead. Why do I feel like it's going to be a troll question? Are the bombings in Kyiv down a bit? They have been for this week, but there is information, and we're all anticipating a massive attack in the like any day now, probably tonight, to be honest, because there were 2 ballistic air raids already. Both of them were spoofs, but that's usually what it looks like before they launch a hellscape. Um. So yeah. Do you own any guns? No. I don't own any guns. Okay, I didn't see a bunch of messages, so let me go back. You gotta realize something about Starmer. He's only prime minister because UK voters got tired of this the Tories, but otherwise he's been very underwhelming, especially in Ukraine. Well, yeah. Putin's stunt double in Alaska. Yeah, I mean, it did look like it does seem like it was the double, the same one that they sent to Mariupol, but those are all speculations. Like, I'm not, like, I'm not going to say, like, yes, it was a double because no one knows. And also, it would just be irresponsible for me to claim something when we'll never know. I think Trump believes flattery will work with everybody. No, but flattery works on him. Putin came in and he told Trump, like, to a T, everything that Trump wanted to hear. And Trump couldn't stop talking about it. He couldn't stop talking about how Putin told him the election was stolen, how if Trump was president, the war would have never started, even though Putin and Trump both know that the war was full throttle in eastern Ukraine since 2014. So that was all 4 years of Trump's presidency. There was a massive war going on in Ukraine. It's just that the media wasn't paying attention to it. And also, like, Trump is contradicting himself, because if there was no war in Ukraine, why was he sending javelins that he's constantly talking about so much, that he was like the first president to give lethal aid to Ukraine? Why would we need lethal aid if there was no invasion? Like, he doesn't even track his own lies or his own delusions. Very quickly for that reason. Well, yeah, Starmer is underwhelming, that's for sure. Just a spare tank or two. Heavily sanction Russia and then go after the billionaires there. They'd collapse overnight, then force them into a deal. Pretty much. Thank you, Dan. Oh, thank you, Dan. Thank you. Yeah, the whole delegation did look incredibly bewildered after the meeting. Like honestly, I think someone described Caroline Levitt as ashen, and that's what I think she looks like every day. But that day she looked extra ashen. Hi, Larry. Yeah. Also, for the first time in a while, I got like a fun little manicure. Everyone, I feel like every time I get my nails done, people like randomly. I think actually my nails is one of the most asked questions across all of my channels, which is so funny because none of them have anything to do with beauty. But I think that's standardly the most asked question every time I change my nails, which I find so funny. But I've been tame on my nails for the past couple of months, so this time I was like, you know what? Let's bedazzle them and let's do something new. Oh, Kurt, hi. Good to see you. It's been a while. Are you done with TikTok? No, I'm not done with TikTok. Actually, I post quite a lot on TikTok on unmasking. Well, like all of the shorts and stuff like that. But my personal channel on TikTok is just so severely drowned. It's not so I'm not gonna say shadow banned because that's just simply not true. There was not even like shadow banning, but like when Trump became president, a lot of like Ukrainian content was filtered, and then basically a lot of my videos like were not being shown to anyone, and I also had a burnout at that point where like I hi John, where I genuinely just like I couldn't force myself to record any of the videos because every time I was trying to sit down and record something, it just like it wasn't working. So I took a break, and the less I posted, um and the less like obviously TikTok is inclined to show my stuff. So at this point, like it's both a result of like Ukrainian content suppression and the fact that I haven't posted in a while. So now every time I post something, which I'm now trying to do more frequently, it like doesn't show it to anyone who follows me. It shows it to like I don't know, like 1,000 people at most. And so it's just like really hard to force yourself to record content where when it's like important content, when it's like not being shown to anyone, and it's not like it's not doing it's not like basically, yeah, it's not doing it's not fulfilling its purpose. So at this point, like it's a combination of both like content suppression in the past and my own doing in the present. But unmasking is doing pretty good, and I think I might start posting more sort of like sit down things on unmasking, like the type of stuff that I used to post on my personal channel. But we shall see. What are we yapping about today? I suppose that's a quote from the podcast. Good to see you. Oh, hi, Bombi. Good to see everyone again. Honestly, yeah. If you still haven't watched Unmasking the podcast, then you are really missing out because we have been me and Rima. Rima is a combat medic slash my very good friend. We have been releasing episodes for season 2 every week. And actually, so there's something very cool and very different coming to Unmasking. Two things. One, for the channel members, we're gonna film and post a combat medicine tutorial, or rather like first response, like basic TACMed that Rima is going to do. Which Rima, by the way, teaches soldiers TACMed, and so she is a fantastic teacher because like that's what she did before she actually went to the front, and she still does it. Like right now, she's teaching soldiers from her unit in a different location somewhere in Ukraine. I can't say where, so she's not back to the front, but she's back on her rotation. She's just like doing non-frontal work right now, and and there is going to be a special guest on Unmasking. It's not Masha, but I realized something. So most of our Unmasking audience, which is actually really cool because that was our target audience, because those are the people I find watch and care about Ukraine the least. It's like 18-year-olds to like 29 to like 25-year-olds, because mostly it's like 30 plus people that actually care about Ukraine. Um, so uh so 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 I found, well, didn't find, it actually happened as an accident, but my childhood friend whose wedding I went to, her little sister is now 21. And when I left, she was 6. And she's a beautiful young woman, very smart, very interesting, very driven, like super funny, has a, like, speaks English fantastically. And I want to record an episode with her because she can give you a perspective of like early 20s. When the war started, she was 18, and she has a very interesting story. She had to go to like 2 different countries, but she didn't want to like move out of Ukraine. Like she came back to Ukraine, even though, like, everyone is like, oh, all the young people in Ukraine, if they had an opportunity, they would leave. Like, not true. She had plenty of opportunities and she came back. So anyways, like, I really want to like talk about her story and about her experience and stuff like that, and what it's like when the war starts when you're that young. So I think that'd be like a very valuable input. And she's also amazing. So like we've become friends. Like, she's so cool. She's probably like the coolest 21-year-old girl I've ever met. Like, one of the reasons why we've never had anyone that young on the podcast is because like I normally have a hard time like finding you know, mutual ground with someone that young. But she's like great. I love her. She's fantastic. So I really want to like, want to hear what she has to say. Now let me go back to, also, thank you Dan so much, and thank you Christy so much. You guys are so generous and so sweet, and that's just, thank you. That means a lot. And Dan is, Dan, you're literally again the star of this channel. I'm never shown Masha in TikTok either anymore. Masha barely makes TikToks. Masha recently is like in the last week, she moved to a different city in Ukraine. She quit her job at Kyiv Independent, and she's kind of figuring life out right now. And she's also realized that she doesn't necessarily like making videos, and this is not her thing. And so she's looking to find a different calling. Let me put it that way. I guess like I mean, like, Masha should be speaking about it herself, right? So I don't want to like put words in her mouth, but that's basically the gist of it. Um, okay, let me see. I hope you've been okay, all things considered. I mean, been better times, but I'm glad to see you. I'm gonna have to get used to this. This is YouTube, not TikTok. Pick something relatable to you. Be genuine. Teach your skills. Portray the facts and document the lessons you learn. That is YouTube. I mean, like, I have no problems on YouTube. And I love YouTube. And I've been like, in fact, instead of doing TikTok lives, which I used to do, I'm doing YouTube lives now because I genuinely like prefer the platform. Um, and like whoever doesn't want to just talk here, it's fine. I mean, like, my subjects are not something that interests you, so that's okay. You're not trolling either, so like, you can keep, I don't know why you're still here, because you keep saying how much you don't like it here. I'm not trying to MAGA rage bait or do something disingenuous. I talk about Ukraine, and the people that are in this live have been watching me for a year or 2 years or for some time, and I enjoy having a conversation with these people, with everyone in this chat, and I enjoy like talking about politics and about latest events. These lives are not supposed to be formal or teaching anything. It's just a conversation. So if you don't like it, it's fine, and you are welcome to leave and find something that you are interested in. But I am not. That's not me. Masha is awesome. I know she will do awesome things. Also, someone was asking, and I don't think you guys should have like removed them. I actually don't think they were trolling, but like they were asking about Ukrainian women who get a lot of work done, and there is work as in like filler and Botox and stuff like that, and it is largely true. I will say that probably like 6 in 10 Ukrainian women have their lips done. And there are a lot of like beauty procedures here. It has become part of culture in the recent years, but I will say that it varies based on where you go in Ukraine. And it is like, I'll try to answer this question. I wasn't saying videos, I was talking about TikTok. I was talking about my uploads on TikTok and what happened to my TikTok channel because I have my TikTok is rather large and my largest platform. And the reason why they aren't reaching people is because at some point I just stopped posting for quite a while. And now it's like a problem of my own doing, basically. Um, but what I was saying is that I do want to answer this question because, like, actually it's not like this person is not trolling, and it's kind of true. There are lots of people, there are lots of women especially with like work done here, especially lip filler. Lip filler is like one of the most popular things that I guess like happens in Ukraine. There is like Botox, there is fillers and stuff like that, but it's become part of culture. And I would say that the reason it became part of culture is because like, this is going to sound so stupid and this is going to sound so like blame diverting, but basically, at some point, most of our YouTube in Ukraine was Russians on YouTube. And filler and like overdone lips and all of that is like a big thing among like Russian influencers. Um, among Russian influencers. So when this is what you're exposed to all the time, this is naturally what becomes your standard of beauty. And to be honest, I myself am horrified in a lot of cases of how much filler people use in their lips here. And I agree that in a lot of cases, it's ridiculous. But also, when people say that it's like every single Ukrainian woman, are there any women that have no work done? Like, yes, Rima, Masha. Like people around, women around me don't have work done. Women in my circle don't do this. Like women in their 30s do like unnoticeable Botox, or like beauty procedures like that to prevent aging, but no one does these like super overdone things. And those overdone things usually are a unfortunate result of years of exposure to Russian YouTube and Russian celebrities. In fact, like I will show you something. I like this is an extreme case, but at some point, this person was incredibly popular in Russia, and they were like one of like a celebrity hairstylist of sorts, and it was like the first person who got who had like a lot of work done, who became like mainstream and was like in all of the Russian like celebrity shows and all of the Russian like Christmas specials and all that crap. So this is probably where this culture started. How does one here? There you have it. Yeah, it's a man. It's it's um it's uh it's Sergei Zverev. And if you think that this is like, oh, but this is a recent picture, I can tell, right? Like, here's the thing. This is what it looked like back in the day. So he was still like that. And all of this started in early 2000s, and it was a shocker because he looked ridiculous like that. I think this is a lot closer to what it looked like in early in early 2000s. So when you are wondering how that happened to Eastern Europe, look no further. And the funny thing is that like when it initially started happening, like people were making fun of him because he looked ridiculous. But I think it's just like kind of morphed into this culture. But like, I'm realistic, and I'm not gonna be this person who's like, no, like we have no problem in Ukraine with women pumping their lips full of filler and doing all of these like ridiculous plastic surgeries. That's just like propaganda, or like how dare you? Like it's true. There on average there are a lot of women walking down the street that you can see with overfilled lips, and I mean to the point where like I personally don't get it. But it's not the majority of people. And it's just the people that you see abroad, because this is like the type of people that wants to like show themselves off and have these like, TikTok and Instagram channels that like blow up because they like post like pretty explicit content and stuff. So yeah, you're exposed to mostly those people, and we do have more of them than your average country does. But then again, look at Hollywood, you know? Uh, However, I will say that yes, I too do not understand the duck lips thing, and I too wish that that wasn't as present here as it is, because I don't know, like that. Just to me, it's not attractive, and like I think that the people who do overfill their lips to the brim of no return actually looked much more beautiful and much more authentic and much more attractive before they did that. Hi, do fillers last forever? I'm not a cosmetologist, so please do not take my answer as a fact. I will tell you from what I know and from what I understand, fillers don't dissolve on their own. When they initially started becoming popular in cosmetology, the belief was that fillers do dissolve. So, for instance, you know, when you see women with these like really big lips, and when they turn sideways, it's like this kind of like a shelf situation. So, the reason why it happens and the reason why people thought that filler dissolves is because it migrates. And when you have like, and when you have very little filler, when it migrates, you can't see it that much, right? Because it just like migrates here and here. And so it just creates like more plumpness. But when you basically like, when you keep pushing filler in there, right? Then it keeps migrating and migrating. And then it keeps like basically turning your lip out. And all of the stuff that migrates ends up like here. So then you end up having what they call like a filler mustache. And from what I'm understanding is that out of the most recent couple of years ago discoveries, filler does not go away. It moves. And so you actually, if you don't want to have filler anymore, you have to dissolve it. And I will say that all the new procedures in cosmetology, they're always trial and error. And they don't actually know what happens to it. They assume, or how it like, what the effects are in like 5, 10, 20 years. Because if it's new, there is no way to know. It's just an assumption based on the properties of like of yeah. So for instance, thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. It happens all over the world. People just have to get used to it. It's just the way it is. I know, but it's like, to me, it's still, you know, I still can't like, I still can't, you know, get used to it. I will say, because like I'm an open person, right? I have I have filler, and you wouldn't be able to tell because I don't have filler in my upper lips, and I don't have filler anywhere but over here, literally in this zone. Because when the invasion started, I started doing this out of being nervous, and so I practically bit off like this part of my lip, and it was like this. So I wanted to fix that because it bothered me greatly. And I initially, invasion of Ukraine. So I initially thought of tattooing the lip here so it like extends to where it used to be. But then I've consulted many people, and they were all like, don't do that. So I have like a minuscule amount of filler in here that basically fills in the part of the lip that's missing, that I screwed off doing this. So there's that. And yeah, it's just not enough to like, it's just not enough to, you know, it's just not enough to like, I wasn't doing it to like enhance my lips or make them bigger, or you know, or change like the structure of my of my face. I was doing it to fix a problem of my own doing, or of my own chewing, I guess. So there's that. No, I don't know that channel. My voice is oddly soothing. Thank you. I do voiceovers sometimes. um, Gross, how can people do this? I mean, to be honest, like, I think that the reason people do this, a lot of this is online culture, and a lot of this is kind of like how people are presented online and what beauty standards are imposed on society, right? Because like young girls, for instance, see these like models on Instagram and their skin is perfect but it's retouched, right? Their like butts are huge and their waists are super thin and their teeth are incredibly white and their lips are very plump, right? And so they go to a doctor to try and achieve that. But the thing is, they can't achieve that and look natural because those enhancements on Instagram are done in Photoshop or in like Snapseed or whatever apps people use these days, Facetune, to like make it look perfect in pictures. And that's kind of like the conundrum, right? Is because I don't think people go in to these appointments thinking to themselves like, oh, let me blow up my lips to the size of an average happy birthday balloon. I think they go there and they start little by little. And there is also this thing that I guess like is called filler blindness. And that's when people start like overfilling their faces, and that's when you see these like weird jawlines and like massive lips and these like crazy like I don't know crazy why am I not speaking English right now? What are these things called? What is this? Um, no, this is a jawline. And then this, where do you put highlighter and contour? Cheekbones. Thank you. So cheekbones and like all of these like weird sort of like over snatched faces. So that happens because people go yeah, people don't see it anymore. It's like, you know, when something changes on your face and you see it every day, you forget what it was like before, and so then you just keep adding and adding and adding. It's like if you went to the doctor and injected like 5 mils of filler in one go into your lips, it would go from being no lips to like lips, right? You would see that it looks ridiculous because it's twice the size of your freaking face, and like you don't have a face anymore, you just have lips first and then face. Like you sorry, you don't have any features on your face other than like a massive lip. But when you do it little by little by little by little, then you just forget, and that's how it gets to the point where it's too much. Is Zelensky still at the meeting? Yes, Zelensky is still at the White House, but now the press has been asked to leave, and I guess there is like a one-on-one type of situation going on because they had a presser, they had these like public appearances and public and like public speeches and discussions and stuff like that. So now it's mostly a waiting game, and the bilateral meeting has finished, and now President Trump and wait. Uh, wait. Yeah. So right now, the last thing that was reported on is Trump and Putin walking around. Trump and Putin, Trump and Zelensky walking around the White House and chatting. So it's the latest that we've seen. Are you in Ukraine? Yep, I am. Kyiv. I'm in Kyiv, Ukraine. I lived in New York for 14 years, and then a year and a half ago, I moved. Back home to Kyiv. Do you think a ceasefire will happen? Not a chance. Not a chance because Russia's not going to adhere to a ceasefire. So here's the problem with most of the world wondering about what is going to happen, right? Is that unfortunately, because the media wasn't covering this from 2014 to 2022 at all, most people are unaware of all of the ceasefires that Russia has broken previously. Like every single ceasefire that we've had with Russia, and we've had plenty, and we've had plenty of meetings, and we've had plenty of peace talks, and we've had plenty of memorandums, and plenty of accords, and plenty of agreements. Russia has broken every single one of them. It wasn't JD who apologized for this suit comment. It was Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, who is a journalist, who actually made that comment and who apologized for it. But yes, a lot of people around the world are unaware if the war is still going on. Yeah, that too. Like, I get that quite a lot, and I think the only place where I did not feel like people are out of touch and majority was Lithuania. Um, well, Nikita Khrushchev was only Ukrainian on paper because Nikita Khrushchev didn't. So here is like, here's the thing: there is such an understanding as a Soviet man. When you were born and raised in the Soviet Union under Soviet tradition and you have no identity and no morality, you basically become the reflection of your system, right? So Nikita Khrushchev was Ukrainian by birth, and Nikita Khrushchev was Ukrainian on paper, but he was not Ukrainian by any means. As in, he wasn't promoting Ukrainian culture. He wasn't speaking Ukrainian. He wasn't. Nikita Khrushchev was a Russian. Nikita Khrushchev was literally like a person who was brainwashed into being Russian by the system. And Nikita Khrushchev has done enough horrors to Ukraine and to the rest of the Soviet occupied republics to kind of just be a Russian colonizer. And at that point, it's I like really, I find it very funny when people use arguments like, well, I'm not saying you, but in general, it's like, oh, well, Stalin was Georgian. He's not really. Like, just being born somewhere and being of that mentality and of that like nationality um, are not are not equal, right? Like, if you are born in France but you act, speak, and portray an Italian mentality, then you are just French by origin, but in reality you're Italian, right? And people have a harder time grasping it with Russia and Ukraine because brotherly nations, but it's not true. Like, Stalin, like, he changed his name to sound more Russian. He did not do anything positive for Georgia. He didn't try to promote or help Georgian culture. He was fully immersed into Russia and he was trying to appear and portray himself as Russian. So, yeah, that's kind of the same with Nikita Khrushchev. Is Zelenskyy well liked by most Ukrainians? Yes and no. So here's the thing: like, we are kind of like a very I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. So Ukrainians are very realistic people and we take no shit, especially from our government. When you ask if Ukrainians like Zelensky's foreign policy and what he's doing in terms of like his international relations and how he portrays our country and how he portrays what the people want, yes, he's very well liked because we understand that he speaks our mind, that he does relay what we want, and he does stand up for what his people want. When you ask about domestic policy, then we've got some issues. But Ukrainians are critical people. Like, as in, we don't have a cult of personality in this country. Like, um, we have this slogan, and the slogan is "the people are the power," which is like the people are the government. So we really do see our government as public servants, and we really do see our government as like, you are not above us, you are just the messengers that we've elected to represent our desires. So when our government does things that the people don't agree with, we usually swiftly protest, and we also usually swiftly change that because Ukrainians are not the type of people who are going to like take shit from our government. So yes, Zelenskyy is like well liked in terms of his foreign policy and what he's been doing and how he's been standing up for Ukraine and how he hasn't been taking any how he hasn't like, mm, how he hasn't been scared of like Trump or the US, or how he hasn't like backed down or bent over backwards to like kiss Trump's ass, because that's not who we are as people. And we do think that he's the best uh, the best person for the job at this time. But at the same time, But at the same time, we we do have criticisms of him for like domestic policy and stuff, but I think that's normal. So yeah. Do the older people miss the Soviet Union? I have seen a couple of interviews. Some do, but that's not necessarily because of the Soviet Union itself. It's because they were young. So there is actually, it's called something like youth transformance syndrome. I don't want to lie because I don't remember the correct term for it, but it's actually like a psychological phenomenon. And a lot of the times, older people, especially those in like their 70s and 80s, if they lived in the Soviet Union and they were used to that system and they were young during that system, they're nostalgic for being young and having like opportunities, because now things are much worse for them, and they sort of like they project it onto the fact that it's no longer Soviet Union, but in reality, it's because they are older, much older. They have way less opportunities because they're much older. Their health is obviously very different, and they no longer have their whole life ahead of them. So, this sort of projection happens for a lot of older people, not just with the Soviet Union. It happened in like in Germany and in Italy as well. And a lot of the times it's just projection, old age versus youth. It's the same thing for those who were children in the 50s in America. Yeah. Hi, BM Custom Furniture. So yeah, it's just like it's actually a very typical thing. And also because like, technology is difficult. The world is like digitizing. You have choices that you have to make, right? And like in the Soviet Union, for them it was easier because that's stuff that they were used to. They were used to not having choices. They were used to not having to figure out how to collect your pension on a smartphone, right? So it's like it's a lot of factors, and it's usually projection again, not because of how life actually was, but to the time when you were a lot more aware of things and a lot more capable. Let's put it that way. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much. Uh, oh, hi, Les. Hello. Good to see you. Does Ukraine have campaign finance regulations? Yes, we do. Actually, Ukraine is not printing rich and corporate influence. I mean, we have Renat Akhmetov, who's like the wealthiest person in Ukraine, and he's very wealthy, and he does monopolize a lot of stuff. But at the same time, like Ukraine is one of not many developed countries where actually owning your business is a lot more profitable than working for someone else. So there are lots of opportunities like that in this country, and we don't necessarily have like we're not taken over by corporate in by any means. Like it's actually a lot. You have a lot more chances of success by opening your own business than you do by working corporate. So we don't necessarily have a threat of corporate right now to like over-regulated, because we don't necessarily have yeah, we don't have like corporations taking over as much as they do in other countries. Like for instance, we don't have like massive coffee chains. We don't have like ridiculous amounts of like fast food chains or restaurant chains or something like that. Like usually a restaurant chain will have like 10 restaurants countrywide, you know. So so we are not necessarily falling prey to the corporate stuff yet. And I think it's actually going to change with the EU, because things like Starbucks, like like other basically other chains are going to come in. Well, yeah, we do have McDonald's. Like we do have, KFC too. We have Domino's, it turns out, which I'm like wildly surprised at. But Domino's here is not nearly as shitty as it is in the US because apparently, like because of food regulations and stuff, they actually have to make decent pizza, which is so funny. Um, so yeah, so there is there's like we do have chains. We have like McDonald's, we have Coca-Cola, right? Like we have those like products, but at the same time, uh, I I wonder if she brought the propaganda or not. Yes, she did. She also lives in Moscow. She's brainwashed. Also, like, she's is from Moscow, but she's Ukrainian. Like, what do you mean she's like demographically Ukrainian? Like, her roots are Ukrainian? Because if you're from Moscow, you're not Ukrainian. Hi, August. Oh, August is the month where when I was born. Which is also now. Sorry, it's been like the longest month of my life. She was born in Crimea. Well, yes, she's definitely brainwashed if she lives in Moscow and she went through deliberate Russian propaganda that they've unleashed in Crimea. Not in all Western societies, I believe, look at US. Yeah, with the exchange rate, McDonald's gives you a sticker shock there. Well, yeah, but also like to be honest, the funny thing is that in the US, McDonald's is about the cheapest thing you can eat, and in Ukraine, it's actually cheaper to eat non-processed food from a grocery store than it is to eat McDonald's. Thanks for the membership. All fast food is better in EU than it is in the US. Yeah, true. But what I was trying to say is that like we still have a lot of like we have more independent coffee shops than we have coffee chains, which is different from, for instance, New York, which is my other comparison because that's where I've spent half of my life. We have more independent restaurants than like chain restaurants and stuff. And yeah, it's just generally way less like corporate oriented here. What's my opinion on Zelensky's latest talk with Trump? I mean, we don't know all of the information yet, but I have zero delusions that it's going to change anything for Ukraine. This is not going to benefit Ukraine in any way, and nothing is going to come out of this like peace talk because Russia doesn't want peace. Yeah, sadly, you know, if Russia wanted peace, Russia would just get out of Ukraine. If Russia wanted peace, Russia would just like not have invaded. Boom, peace. Amazing. I applaud his tolerance of Trump. I mean, he kind of has to, right? He has to try all of the avenues. And like, this is called this is literally the example of diplomacy. Diplomacy, right? This is the example of diplomacy where like you have to tolerate him and you have to like to the extent to which is possible, basically do your best for the best outcome. Jonathan, I will actually either create a GoFundMe and publish it tomorrow, or I will create PayPal now actually allows you to create campaigns. So I can post like a link to the PayPal like fundraising campaign, and then I will make it public, and we can all contribute to the fundraiser for Rima, which is already at $400 because someone from YouTube donated and someone from Instagram donated. And it was a very generous, very, very generous donation. I don't mind. What do you do for work? I'm a political, I'm a journalist, and I'm also a political analyst. Sorry, let me grab some milk because I realized I haven't really had like real food today. How hard is Ukrainian to learn? I mean, I don't know because I'm a native Ukrainian speaker, so I just know Ukrainian from birth, from like my parents. But I do consider it to be a pretty difficult language because we have a lot of exceptions for grammar rules and stuff. And I will say that Duolingo is going to teach you the weirdest stuff that you're never going to need to use. So maybe like try Preply, like anything other than overheated. Yeah, now that Duolingo is all this is all now that Duolingo is all AI, it's even shittier. Blink 2 times if you need help with what? No. Oh, God. No. Wait, I don't know how to... Do you hear me, or is it now in my headphones? Because I think my headphones just connected to my phone. And sound is back, being louder. Okay, well... Oh, thank you, Dan. Yeah. I got Duolingo for French. And according to my French boyfriend, it's really not teaching me anything useful. Has air defense improved? Well, we haven't had any airstrikes in a little while. So, there is no way to tell. But I'm anticipating there's going to be a huge airstrike. Literally any day now. So I guess I'll come back to you on that. Also, this is a really good moment to let all of you who don't know that I have a podcast called Unmasking Pod. It's on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music, where me and my co-host, who is a combat medic in Ukraine, we filmed it while she was on rotation, talk about all things politics, Ukraine, life in Ukraine as a woman in your 30s, and we discuss all political things in a very casual manner, similar to how this live is, where it's not like a news rundown, but it's more of like a conversation about politics and life and how this world is on fire with your friend in a coffee shop. So, if that sounds fun for you, do watch it. Air defense lasers are available now? Well, the podcast comes out every Wednesday. You guys are so sweet. I think you got a notification for my live or something. No, I posted. I made a post. Like right before this live, but it wasn't an episode. I did a community post. Do I believe Trump is good or bad for America? Why? I've been on for about an hour and a half, it turns out. I didn't even realize. You've been addicted to Cheerios, and you know, I bought this cereal in a grocery store near my house. Everything was closed. This grocery store was open. They had a very small variety of cereal, and it turns out this is healthy cereal for kids. So it tastes like Raisin Bran without raisins. And it's shaped, like, the thing is, like, I thought these were chocolate, like, you know, like cocoa puffs. No, they're not. They're these tiny little, like, they're not even cocoa. It says healthy cereal, and you know what? It tastes like healthy cereal. It's kind of like eating oatmeal in a cereal. It's not what I wanted, but it is what it is. Trump is terrible for America. And for the world. And for literally anyone who dares to, like, not praise him. Mm. Mm. My dogs, somehow, which normally they give me so much trouble when I'm live. It was not a dog sneeze. It was, so this dog is, you know, just doing her thing, sleeping. This dog is chewing a bone. And she constantly keeps, like, I guess, getting, like, residue. And so she has to clear her throat. So yeah. There is that. Oh yeah, sin emojis. I need to add Maeve as an emoji. I'm gonna do that now, because why not? 1 second. I'm gonna make a Maeve emoji. I have many funny pictures of Maeve. Obviously, we have to have a Maeve emoji if we have a sin emoji. We have to have the whole dog. How about this one? Okay, so we have option 1. That's option 1. There's plenty of options, don't worry. I have many pictures of Maeve. Oh my god! How is this not an emoji? This is Cinny still, but she's so funny. Her faces. Wait. Where are all of my pictures of my dogs? Where did it go? What the helly? Maybe they're in the phone that I'm using for the live? Okay, so unfortunately, the option 1 is the only option we have at this minute, so that's the option that's gonna make it. Where was this picture even? I mean, we also have this, which is truly kind of like the large eyes emoji. I think I'm doing this. It's very expressive. Buddy. She heard being mentioned. Okay. Mueven. Mueven. It's not food for you, it's food for me. Excuse you? No, no, no. Baba. 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 Yeah, actually, Dima, I can see that. I can totally see that. Oh my gosh, what did I just do? Okay, give me 1 second. Why am I so... No. Hey, Maeve. Bubby. No. Wait. Bubba is baby? No. Bubba, like B-U-B-B-A, it's just what I call dogs. It has no, like, linguistic meaning. Bubba is just, like, something, like, weirdly shaped and plump, I suppose. So that's what I call my dogs because they're bulldogs. Oh, here. This object selection tool. Okay. This is so freaking funny because I don't think anyone is ready for this emoji. It's just like way too freaking funny. Wait, I'm gonna at least make adjustments, brightness, contrast, so it's a little brighter and more contrasty. Okay, image, file, export as PNG, Maeve. Hey guys, can you please get rid of the creep over there? Thank you. No, there was political talking. We're just sort of like all over the place right now, to be honest. We're kind of like all over the map. Ah, thank you, Dan. 1 second. It's gonna ask me to verify my identity. Bye-bye. No, not my videos. Maybe it's that tab. The emoji is coming soon. I'm just uploading it. So give me a second. Membership. Badges and emoji. Emoji! Okay. Add another emoji. Upload. Emoji. Okay. All right, save and publish. So it should be available soon. Good to see you, Bombi. Okay, 1 sec. European solidarity was very lovely to see. Like, genuinely. But Trump. Oh, Trump. I'm trying to make this image smaller so it can actually go on YouTube. What the fuck? Sorry. Why is it still too big? I just made it smaller. Yeah. What the F? How is it still too large? I made it smaller. Sometimes. Replace. Thank you. Now upload. It shouldn't be 2100 by 2100. It should be... Okay. One second. Sorry, I'm still trying to... Export Mave 1. Okay, maybe that'll work. Okay, that should work. My day was okay today. In honor of Dan. Only Dan's live stream in honor of Dan. Marxism, Leninism would never work in reality. It only works in theory. But also, you guys, just so you know, just so you know, the new emoji of Maeve is upcoming. She does look like a seal. Very much seal. See, now I want to add more emojis. Ukraine, I'm Ukrainian. Yeah, I'm in Kyiv right now. In fact, I need to check if there are any air raids ongoing. Also, my Brits and my UK people in general here. So you know Love Island, right? Me and my friend's little sister, we were watching Love Island the other day just as like a joke. And as a joke, I was like, what if we submitted you for Love Island? You guys, we actually filled out the form and we actually submitted her for Love Island. I'm from Ukraine. So, if she, you know, somehow gets selected, there is going to be a lovely Ukrainian woman on Love Island. There is nothing yet about Trump Zelenskyy. It's like the thing is, all of it would be speculation at the moment. So it's kind of like, right now we're just waiting for all the information to come out. Right now there is still very little. European leaders reminded Trump that true peace requires backing Ukraine. We could reach an agreement that could deter any future aggression against Ukraine, Trump tells European leaders. No. We'll give them very good protection, very good security, Trump says in White House meetings with Zelenskyy. Also, Trump is supposed to have a follow-up call with Putin. Oh my god. Well, I mean, some people like ASMR, I guess. Good to see you too, Not a Butter. Vape King. It's funny, that's actually a name of a vape shop in New York that I used to go to. Like right now, the thing is like, Ukraine is not going to agree to this deal because we've had security guarantees, Budapest Memorandum, everyone like, none of the guarantors cared for those existing. And Putin hasn't changed any of his demands. So So Bild reported that Trump stopped the negotiation with the European leaders in order to go talk to Putin, his bae. And apparently during the press conference, he kept saying that Putin is waiting for his call. I mean, obviously, you gotta call your girlfriend. You know. Well, that's what Putin is really pronounced, like, Putin is not his real name. Or like Putin, it's Putin. His boss Putin, I would say it's like his daddy. His bae. His idol. Putin also speaks fluent German. Yeah, his name is Putin, like Putin. You know, a tin of poo, which actually makes sense. Hi, South Australia. I'm done with my cereal for late dinner. Also, Callie is a pretty name. Yeah, Putin. Could Ukraine live with giving up Donetsk, Luhansk, and either Zaporizhia or Kherson in order for a complete withdrawal from either Zaporizhia or Kherson Oblast? Well, no, because the thing is, like, the issue with giving up anything and recognizing it as Russian is that it sets a very dangerous precedent. It's not just about like Ukraine and what we're willing to live with or not live with. First of all, that would betray all the people that were forcibly removed from their homes, right? It's not about like land. It's not about the people that live there right now. It's about the people and what was stolen and taken from them. It's also about the fact that giving it up is not just like, oh, well, fuck, Ukraine doesn't have it anymore. It's a massive change to the world order. And it's a massive change to the world order and the laws, like the law and order in the world, because that sets a very, very dangerous precedent that you can just take whatever you want and get away with it. So no, the answer is no. You guys, my dog, my little dog is looking at me like this currently. Wait. Which tells me that she wants to go for a walkie. And that if I don't take her on a walkie anytime soon, she's going to change that pose for a lot more terrifying pose for me, and the walkie is going to happen at home. Wow, she hasn't broken eye contact in like no, Moiven. No. You go wait there. You go wait there. I don't know who Zelenskyy is. I've never met anyone with the name Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy is not someone I know or have heard of. But point is, I need to go walk this creature and the other creature. I know I said walk, but she knows. Well, I don't think Maeve speaks any language. Maeve. Okay. I'm gonna go give them FOOD. And then we're gonna go outside. Oh my god, wait. Then we're gonna go outside. And then we're gonna have food. We're gonna have food. Treats. Okay, you guys, I think I screwed myself over and now I really do need to go. Suddenly, both of these dogs are so alive. Okay. We're gonna go have some dinner and we're gonna go on a walk. And I'll talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye. Yes, oh my god, look at them. Thing 1, thing 2. Bye, guys. Good night.